Hi, friends, and welcome to the channel. This is a podcast where I enjoy sharing my insights, and today I'm talking about wise decisions seem foolish. And I want to talk about the beautiful art of discernment and how the path that we're seeking is not always logically lit up so that these eyes can see it. The lighted path is the dark one. And that might sound a little confusing to you, but once you get into it, you'll understand, as Robert Frost reminded us, about the road less traveled. Stick around. There have been times in my life where the signs were pointing me to the obvious choice. And the obvious choice was not always my choice. I know that sounds weird because we want the choice to be obvious, but it's not always obvious in logic or in sight. I'm going to give you an example of a time where the signs were pointing me to the obvious choice, but the inner signs were pointing me to the obscure choice, which would have appeared foolish to those who were advising me. When I first started teaching, I wanted a specific kind of job. And I was told by more than one person that I didn't have the pedigree, the experience, the degrees, the know-how. But inside me, I still wanted that kind of job. And I wanted it badly. Meaning it was firm in me. I want that. Yeah, that's the kind of job I want. And so we were wrapping up. I was coming out of my master's degree and we were wrapping up the semester, and all my colleagues had decided where they were going next. Many of them had jobs. Some were going on to graduate school. Some had Fulbright scholars and that sort of thing. And I had nothing. Ryan, did you get a job yet? No jobs for me. I knew that I could have gotten a specific kind of job which aligned with my pedigree and my experience. There were many jobs that seemed obvious to my outwardness, what I seemed to be cut out for. In other words, this is what the obvious choice was. Go do this kind of job because this matches your outwardness. But it wasn't matching my inwardness. My inwardness was saying, no, I want this kind of job. And why was I in this conflict? I wasn't conflicted. But the outside was pointing towards the logical choice, but the inside was pointing to the so-called impossible choice. And I stuck to my guns. And lo and behold, at the last minute, this was like the last day of the semester, I got word of a job where there was a connection between a professor of mine who had done a workshop down at this college, and they were looking somebody, and it just all went, and a bunch of dominoes fell, and within 5 days I had a job. It was like that. And I paid attention to the inner desire. That was my boss. I aligned myself with that. I stuck to my desire. I would have gone in the obvious direction if that inner eye had said, you desire that. So I want you to think of your desire, your real desire. Now, I'm not talking about having $1 million or being famous or having a mansion, unless that's really, really what you want. I'm talking about your heart's desires, what kind of job you want, what kind of spouse you're looking for, if you want to start a family, whatever the case may be. The inward signs are going to point you to what's not possible. The outward signs are going to be the easy way because you can see it with your brain, with your logic, your mind, your eyes. You'll know when to stick to your guns because your desire is your sire. Sire means sir, parent, leader, boss. And you'll begin to pay attention to that in every single aspect of your life. And as Caroline Myss reminds us, you can't betray yourself anymore. See, compromise is taking the path that everybody else is telling you to go down, the obvious path. But the path less traveled is the lighted path, which is just bright. Very, very bright and specific. It's shining specifically on your desire. And you are not to compromise that. If you do, your spirit withers. If I had taken the kind of job that I was told that I was cut out for, you hear that language, cut out for? That's an outwardness. If I took a job what I was cut out for, what seemed to match my outwardness, I would have betrayed my inwardness and I would have been miserable. My spirit would have went decayed, because I would have jumped to conclusions. I would have felt nervous because of the timeline. I would have betrayed myself. That's what compromise is. Compromise is compromising yourself. Come on, Ryan, come. Everybody else is going on this trip. You're part of the group. You got to go. And then inside you're like, I don't really want to go there. Come on, everybody's, it's cheap. Everybody is going. Oh, it just wouldn't be the same without you, you see. But then inside you're like, I don't want to go there. And you go anyway, and you've betrayed yourself. Maybe you wanted to stay at home and have a vacation at home. So there's so many things in your life that will seem like the outward signs are directing you. So the way I do it is I say, okay, there's an outward eye and an inward eye. And I want to be in agreement with both the inward and the outward eye. This last hurricane we had, which was about a year ago, the outward eye was saying, flee, flee the hurricane. And I'm not in an evacuation zone. I did. If they would have told me to evacuate, of course, I would have complied. I mean, I'm okay with that. Then I would have wanted to. But I was not in an evacuation zone, and I decided to wait it out. And there were suggestions to leave. My mind said, oh, you better get out of here. This one's a big one. This is a doozy. You're running out of time, blah, blah, blah. I had to check in with the inner eye. The inner eye said, you'll be okay. Stay the course. Even if I had died, it would have been the right thing to do, you see. I strongly believe in the inner eye, the desire, the S-I-R-E, the sire, the boss. And I trust that. That's what it means to trust yourself. Many people say that's trusting God, but if God speaks to us, it is the I speaking to you, the eye of desire, right? So I was okay. Went through 2 hurricanes and just a few branches in my yard, whatever. So I trust my gut on those kinds of things, Even though my phone blew up and my mom was like, you got to get out of there. There's a big storm coming, blah, 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 blah. Not a hotel room in sight, nowhere to go. So you pay attention to the fact that the eye is everywhere and also in the environment. So if it looks like the environment's pushing you around, looks like that's what you got to do, you'll comply. You'll know deep inside, comply with the weather, whatever. But very rarely will you be in this state of conflict from the outside and the inside. It says in 1 John, I've said this before, but the he that is within is greater than the he that is within the world. You go into that desire. How do we stick to our guns? We go in, we get very quiet, and we ask, do I want this? And wanting is just like hunger. You'll know. How do you know you're hungry? Do you have to say, I'm hungry? There's a feeling in you. It's like, oh, I'm hungry. So desire is very much like that. It's a feeling. I'm hungry for this. And sometimes you'll notice that the I out there is what I call it, I. Like your situation, like a job. Let's say the job outside of you. That's your situation. It might begin to deteriorate. That's what happened to me. My job started it lost its joie de vivre, its zing. But the I inside of me was saying, it's time to leave, time to go. I could have stayed in my job. It was comfortable, it paid well, but I had to listen to the inner I. And the inner I is going to take you to weird places that people say, well, it's foolish to quit your job without another one. The inner I is directing. The outer I is you, too. And I say it's a win-win when the inner I and the outer I are in alignment. When you, the centrality of the inner I, the desire, matches with the environment, which is also working with you. You're in this dance with the environment, with yourself. The problem is we don't always recognize when the outer I is decaying and the inner I is saying, leave. Leave. Leave this. Let this go. That's what it means to be in tune with the universe, or to be tuned with yourself. The I is everywhere. There's sort of an inside eye and outside eye. This is what I'm trying to get you to go at. And the inner eye is the boss. Even when the outer eye is giving you tempting choices. So the wise person does what is foolish. What are some examples of this? All right, you're running out of money, you're running out of food, you're running out of time. Those are the signs on the outside. So a lot of people jump to those conclusions. I don't have enough money to do this. I don't have enough time to do this. So they take sort of the road everybody else travels. The wise person opens the cupboard, sees no food, looks at the bank, sees no money, looks at the watch, sees no time, and paints a picture. Because they know they're all right. There's no action. I check in with myself every day. Is there something I need to do? Is there an action? No. So what I do? Go ride my bike. Paint a picture. Do a dance. Have fun. It's a different kind of way to live. It looks foolish to people. How can you go do something fun when the outer signs are decaying? Because I know I'm where I'm supposed to be in this moment. There's no directive gnawing at my stomach to do something. Do you see? Now, let me give you another example of where the inner eye and the outer eye had to be in agreement. My mind was saying there was another part-time job I had. I was like, oh, right, I want to quit this job. I said that to myself. But the inner eye said, not yet. Okay. And I kept thinking, all right, I'm ready to go. But the inner eye said, no, I couldn't, make the letter of resignation. So I was kind of in this weird place, okay, well, my mind seems ready. The environment seems ready, but this inner eye said no. And then one day, it was this past January, I woke up and I was like, oh, I get to write my letter of resignation. It felt right, you see? So the inner eye finally gave me the directive. So I resigned. I knew, and it felt good. I honored that timing, that desire. That's what I want you to pay attention to. You may look foolish to people if you just stick to your guns. Or if you leave a relationship or leave a job before you have another one, or spend all your money. That could be something from the inner eye. To prioritize fun. And that you're always safe. That's what freedom is. That's what spiritual freedom is knowing that the inner eye is always right. That's sticking to your guns. And you'll look foolish to the masses. You'll look like you're doing something so dumb. Because it'll look bold. It's not bold. It's the safest thing you can do. It's the only thing you can do. That's the only thing you've been doing. I don't think you can ever betray the inner eye. It just sort of seems like that. because you can always learn from the things you've done. But that grows. The sire of your desire. Think about that. Sire meaning parent. And that's how it speaks to you. And it might be telling you to do something. You can't listen to everybody else unless that matches and aligns with your desire. Then you're in a great partnership with your environment. But if it ever comes down to a conflict between what's out there, what's in my bank account, what's in my mind, if that's in conflict with what's in my heart, the heart wins. And it might seem foolish, but it's the safest thing you can do. My name is Ryan Hebert. I hope you enjoyed these insights. Please check out my blog, mymorningmotivator.com.